It's pain from that injury I got done playing kickball.
Yeah, but that's your most recent
I believe
injury.
so. Yeah, I believe so. Because it feels like arthritis. It was hurting so bad I had to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor yesterday.
What doctor?
Like my doctor.
Like, what did they just give you pain medication, or what did they do?
Yeah, and told me to
amputate
some exercises and stuff.
Sorry, this is looking bad. Yeah. Much worse than I expected.
Much worse than I expected. What? Amputate. Let me get a second opinion here, dog.
Let's not rush the things. Oh God, dude, there was a movie based on like a true story of this guy that played for Texas back in the day, like maybe the '60s, and he was like, kind of like a hard-hitting safety.
Yeah.
And during the season, he started to develop some leg pain, but he was one of those guys who like was never going to let the trainer know that he was hurt at all. Finally came to a head like after the last regular season game, and he had some like serious disease, and by the bowl they had amputated his leg. Oh, wow. And there's like pictures of him like at the bowl game down a leg watching the team. It was just crazy. I mean, just picture like just like I hate to say it, but like Jordan Travis, like if he just didn't get like a football injury, but like suddenly like they realize, oh no, you have like cancer in your lower leg and we have to remove it, and like he's in Charlotte this week with a down a leg. I mean, it just is like what the hell? Yeah. I mean, missing a wheel.
So much for catching it in time.
Yeah. I guess in the '60s they didn't know about preventative medicine.
That's awful, man.
But dude, that's like when you watch like if you ever watch like the old stuff, like old Western stuff, and like those, it's like they didn't find anything. Like the only option they had was we just got to remove the leg.
Oh yeah,
we'll just cut the hand off. Like we're not going to try and fix it.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
that was the only option.
Here's some whiskey. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it was nothing to knock you out or ease the pain. Dude. Yeah, the women was having babies. They couldn't. Yeah, it was no fucking what's her name? Shot of whiskey.
Just cures everything.
Give me 3 shots.
Maybe that's why that's why alcohol is such a big thing now. It's like just passed down. I watched on Thanksgiving. I went and watched the movie Napoleon.
Yeah,
it's a biop. It's fucking awful.
Yeah,
it's really bad. It's like Joaquin Phoenix is like usually very good. Yeah, and he's okay, but like just the way the story moves, it's like you just don't really get anything out of it. It just doesn't have like a purpose. But the one big takeaway was like, that's like on all those like wars and stuff like that, dude. You're getting hit with a cannonball and stuff like that. And it's just like, they're just amputating stuff.
Yeah.
It's just miserable, man. Like, that was the age of like, you just like line up, on one side, and the other team would force would line up in the other, and at some point you just run toward each other and mix it up, and
that's
it's like,
it.
I mean, dudes would just be like laying half dead on the battlefield.
It's funny you mentioned that. Something has been fucking on my mind and killing me. So Denzel, he's about to play in a new movie. I mean, well, surprise, right? Denzel Washington, and it's called Hannibal. And are you familiar with Hannibal?
The warlord of
the general, from way back.
Yeah, I think that's like pre-Napoleon, pre-everything.
Yes. So he's apparently the greatest general to like ever live. It's because of like his tactics and things like that. He implemented all of these great things when nobody was ever thinking this in these terms. So he never lost a battle or anything like that. But anyway. So I remember faintly like Hannibal. I remember that either in school or something. So I went and Googled Hannibal.
Yeah.
And then I just have this thing where I always click on images, right? And it's all of these images of white generals, white guys.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, and I think to myself, well, damn, why do they have Denzel playing it?
Right.
Like this is a white guy.
Yeah.
And so I look it up, and Hannibal was from Africa. He's from North Africa. He's an African general.
Yeah.
And
was he
the thing about
was
it,
he a Moor?
No. And back then, so there's no pictures or anything.
Right.
So this happens a lot in older history. white people just take the best of the best and just say, well, this guy was white. And we're going to change the image. Even down to Jesus. It's just like,
exactly.
All the greats we're going to claim. And who gives a shit? It's in the BC and the 1200s. Who cares? Nobody's going to catch it.
Just imagine if basketball was around back then, MJ and LeBron would be white as hell. Those guys would look like a pair of clan leaders.
Oh man, you guys got to be better than that, man. Start the show, man.
Just can't make
That's
it white.
hilarious, man.
Rain, hey, yeah. In the thunder and rain, in the thunder and rain, yeah, yeah.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink. That was Trap Hamilton, Thunder and Rain. That song was on his last album, which came out a little while ago, but he just dropped that video for that single. I love that song, man. Shout out to Trap.
It's got a nice vibe to it.
Yeah, man. Trap also made Juju's list last week.
Yes, he did.
So there you go. Yes, On the Bench Podcast is home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Of course, we have a really good show for you guys today, as always, right?
Yeah.
Entertaining. We try to make it entertaining as possible. We're going to be talking some NFL MVP talk. We have some we have a Josh Giddey update, the NBA player for Oklahoma City Thunder. Maybe get into some trouble soon.
Might have a taste for the young ladies.
Literally. And we have some crazy stuff to talk about as well to go along with that. We may get to this ceiling fan challenge, one of my favorite challenges.
If you put it on the,
we must talk about it.
Yeah, we can't be that way.
Yeah, but sometimes we get so into these other topics. It's just not enough time, man.
I don't care if we have to go into overtime. We got to at least touch base with that. I mean, it's literally the first item on the promo pic.
Yes. I've really been debating whether I wanted to open with this or not. And
clearly we are.
But clearly we're here. Because it's something we talked about before.
Good.
Something we talked about before. But it just...
On the show?
On the show. On the show. And it's been a couple times we talked about it on the show. But it just bothers me every time it comes up. It fucking... And this is what it is. So I'm watching First Take. And as soon as you hear it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, here it goes." So I'm watching First Take. Stephen A. Smith is on there, and initially they're talking about Jordan and winning and things like that. That's what they're talking about initially. And then Stephen A. makes this dumb fucking comment, and he says, "Yeah, and that's why we regard Bill Russell in such a high regard over Wilt Chamberlain. It's because he won 11 championships and Wilt only won 2." And that's just it. And that's why he's much better. And that's why he's in the top 5 and Wilt is not. And I'm just sitting, I just want to fucking jump through the television and just wring his fucking neck. And let me tell you something. And this is and it's not about Wilt and Bill is what I'm thinking about here. It's a bigger umbrella. And you fall under this umbrella, Pink. And you are a part of the reason why this culture here is screwed up, man. It's screwed up, and you're part of it, and I don't like it, and I hate it. And it's one of the main things that we disagree about.
It's not not drugs and bimbos screwing up society. It's me and this damn umbrella.
Sports culture and sports society specifically.
Okay.
Not life in general. I think we have we're in agreement on those things.
On most of those issues.
Yeah, but the winning just being so important over everything and at all costs, and just throwing away all other context is awful, man. It's really terrible because and just touching on this Wilt and Bill thing, as we've done a couple times on the show, once I know it for sure. Just touching on it. Yes, Bill won 11 championships and Wilt won 2, and they were fairly basically in the same era. You look at that 30, 40, 56 years later, you can come to a conclusion, oh, the one guy had to be better than the other. But again, when one guy has 10 Hall of Famers, how many players are on a basketball team?
12 normally.
12.
15 if you include injured guys.
And 10 are Hall of Famers. No, because I could tell how your face is forming. You have 10 fucking Hall of Famers, and Wilt has 1 Hall of Fame teammate. And how good? What is supposed to happen? And then, okay, when you look at the matchups, if you just, all you have to do is Google, it takes 5 seconds to Google the matchups. They have them. They have the box scores. They have them. Like, it's not a mythology or anything.
Right.
And you can see that Wilt Chamberlain just dominated Bill every time they played. Now, he didn't do to Bill what he did to others. Yeah, others, he's scoring 100 here, he's scoring 60 here, 50 there, 70 there. Okay, his numbers come down. Bill Russell's an awesome defender. But still, 38 and 20, 45 and 18, that's still domination, folks, okay? While Bill is scoring 18 or 15 and 20 or whatever and shooting 30% from the field as a center, that's what are we doing? What are we fucking doing, man? We have to stop this. And then you go and you fast forward to other players and other sports, okay? And you got in the Michael Jordan thing, okay? He is great. I'm not talking about him in specific, but just winning the Nikola Jokic and all of this. I fucking hate it, man. We have to include context along with winning, and I think that is the formula, not just winning.
If you want to be decorated as an individual, do an individual sport. Go run track and field, go box, be an MMA guy, play tennis. Then
Will did all of that, by the way.
That's great. That's great.
Literally.
Yeah, but he wasn't a champion. The bastard
came close in track and field.
bastard was a loser.
Came close in track and field.
But see, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you're a guy, and you got to realize how you're wired when you're coming up, go to the individual sports. Go to the individual sports. If you're going to be a team guy, at the end of the day, you are, and Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. And that's like, we keep score for a reason. We win games. If you win, you advance. It's what sports are predicated upon, team sports. And I get, you could be individually better than a person, but history remembers winners. And to be perfectly fair, a lot of those guys on the Celtics that made the Hall of Fame, if they were in another situation, they probably don't have Hall of Fame careers. They're probably good players who have nice stats individually, but probably don't rise to the level of Hall of Famers.
Winning. Yes, but it's still a collection of good players. No matter how you cut it.
Yeah.
So So maybe they're a good player that doesn't make the Hall of Fame on the fucking whatever Phoenix Suns.
Right.
But when you pair this good player with that good, if I pair 10. What's our guy's name for Phoenix Suns? Bradley Beal. If I pair 10 Bradley, right now Bradley Beal is not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But if I pair 10 caliber players that are Bradley Beal's on his level in just different positions, not only is that team going to win a lot, but that team is going to be that's a great fucking team.
I know, but that's what, like, when you're talking about team sports, that's what this is. And organizations, to me, have a duty and a responsibility to try to win.
Yes, but what if you're on an organization that is just not cutting the cake?
Now, in this era, you have the benefit of basically leveraging yourself out. And back in Wilt's time, that wasn't an option.
No, it was. I'm gonna tell you something because I read something, and this is what happened. He did because a player before him kind of started the free agency thing and whatnot, and so here goes the thing. Wilt did what people wanted LeBron James to do. He stayed in Philly. He said, "I'm going to stay here, get my head knocked in because I'm going to get Philly a championship.
Right.
I will die trying to get you guys a championship." Now, once I get that,
that's right.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
The year he left, the year he won, he left and went to L.A.
Right.
But acting, a lot of that played in the part of the game. But
Will,
L.A. had all of the great players. He could have been left for L.A.
Right.
And what if after his first contract, 4 years in Philly, he loses to Boston. He has the 100-point game already. He's in his prime of prime. He's 25 years old. What if he goes to L.A. then? He could have left for L.A. then. He could have 0 championships. Left for L.A. with all the great players. Or Jerry West, you name them.
Won 5 or 6, and Russell only would have had 4 or 5 himself, and it would have been a different story.
Is that what you rather him do?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think winning that championship in Philly it meant way more than just going to L.A. with 5 or 6 other great players and just winning. Like, that's the Kevin Durant model. I don't respect that model.
Okay, and to be fair, and I don't know if everybody knows, Wilt was a Philly guy. That's where he grew up. So, playing for the Sixers had a different appeal, and I get that. But again, to go back to what we said like before, you're defined by your decisions more than your talent. And that was a decision that Wilt made. And he basically, lives with the consequence of that. He could have, played out in a scenario where he had more titles than Bill Russell, and this conversation would never have happened because he would have the individual stats and stature plus comparable titles, hands down. We don't have this discussion 50 years after the fact. But he chose not to do that for whatever reasons. And, he's dead now, but, perhaps he was satisfied with the road that he took. But there is going to be a cost to the road we take. And Kevin Durant's paid a cost. There's still this narrative that you've never won without the Warriors and without Steph and without all this great team, and that that has a say in his stature in the game. And you've been very critical of him, and I agree with a lot of what you say on that. But his standing in the game, and here's the thing, his standing is only going to go downhill.
Yeah.
it's not going to go any further.
No. Talking about Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, specifically. And that's the thing, the choices that he made. He could have stayed with the Warriors, kept them more violent.
It would have been, for him, it might as well just stay with the Warriors.
I thought at the time.
Because that narrative dies after a couple more rings. Even after one more, maybe.
Yeah, and you just get that thing. And it's like, but he chose the road that he chose, and he's going to have to live with the consequences.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, I mean, LeBron, for his part, he needed to leave Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he got a couple rings in Miami, then he comes back to Cleveland.
Yeah. I think he needed to leave Miami at that point.
I do too, yeah. There was a feeling that Miami was tapped out at that point, and he moved on. I mean, LeBron, for whatever you want to say about him, he has always recognized when the team is shit.
When it's time.
And he's always left a turd in the bowl. Man hasn't flushed in his life. It just is what it is. I mean, he realizes, hey, man, I need to go. But his timing's impeccable, man.
There's no holding down the fort.
Right. So he's not circling the wagons at all. He's getting out and going.
Yeah.
But that's it is what it is. I mean, there's, we can't escape that you play to win. That's what it is. And to me, even guys that have never gotten a title, like, put yourself in position to do that.
I'm going to interject here because that's a great point. I was watching this clip from T-Mac. He was in an interview, and they asked him about his time in Orlando. And he was like, man, I loved Orlando Magic. They were the ones that believed in me, gave me a chance because I wasn't starting in Toronto.
Right,
There was questions around the league about what I could do and things like that. Orlando believed in me. We got there. He says he got there, and they did well in the beginning forming the team. They drafted the shooter. I want to say Mike Miller, but I know that's not. I don't think that's it.
I think it was. Yeah, they were buddies at
the
time. Yeah, Mike Miller.
So they drafted him,
Florida,
and they got him. And then, eventually the free agent with Grant Hill, at the time he was very excited about. Of course, it didn't work out.
Well, no, they came together.
Yeah.
With Grant Hill, but Grant Hill was damaged goods.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
That was tough.
In the beginning, like, things were working out into his favor, but after a while, they traded Mike. They started making bad moves. And then he's like, man, this city believed in me. I did a lot for it. It's been successful. Been good for my career, but I can't stay here for this. I can't stay here for this. Now, T-Mac is a guy with, like, literally what you just said, never won. But at that point in his career, it's like, I need to move and make a change and try. Yeah. And Houston, on paper, was a better fit and had more things going on.
I still, like, to me, the irony is that Dwight came here.
Yeah.
Like and if he'd somehow stayed out, he would have got an 8 or 9 year run with a healthy Dwight, which was a hell of a thing.
Was amazing,
as much as we clown on Dwight, his initial part of his career was fantastic. Yeah. And he went, and Yao Ming, was Tracy McGrady, a tremendous individual talent. He comes here with the idea of playing with Grant Hill, and there was a real close Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I'm talking about like that close.
That would have been like the original super team, like whatever. And then that, like, Tim Duncan stays. Grant Hill's never really gets healthy at the same time McGrady was playing, and then again he reassessed it, looked at his Yao Ming and Houston, and let's go do that. And meanwhile, Dwight comes here and plays great for 8 years, and Yao Ming always seemed to be hurt, and they never really fulfilled on the promise that
I wish they would have asked him about that, because Dwight was really right around the corner.
Yeah.
I
think he's on a 1 year gap.
But maybe the Magic are a little better if T-Mac stays. They don't bottom out and get the pick.
Yeah.
But
a lot of things
goes into that. But they would have been a bad team.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was funny though. Yeah, it really fascinating the way all this stuff sort of plays out. Mm-hmm. But again, I mean, that's why, like, it's short-sighted or whatever, like, for the guys that just make it work. Yeah. And that they find a way to get the title or be in a situation where they get multiple titles. Like, you can't underestimate how special that is.
No, you can't.
And there's an element of good fortune. There's an element of organizational support. And then, of course, there's an element of individual performance. And to me, like, when I look at it, and I didn't play at any level of any significance. I've coached in high school, and coached in some other events and stuff like that. But to me, there's a special vibe that happens when you're the last team standing.
Yeah. Even
in a final, like when everybody else is shut down and you're still playing, and that's a huge feeling. And to me, like if you go your whole career as a very good player and all you've ever done is watch other people play in June, that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
Just not to be a part of that show.
Year in and year out.
Yeah. I mean, and like to me, I would be desperate to do whatever it takes to get to a situation.
That is if you have that thing inside of you. If that's the type, some of these, a lot of these guys are just, they're fine with the paycheck and what the game can
get the bag crew.
Yeah, to get the bag crew.
Secure the bag crew. Which I don't relate to them. I don't I mean, it can't, and I feel like I said it a million times. It's like securing the bag, like you're not going, from like minimum wage to $200 million. Yeah. It might be $180 million instead of $200 million. Yeah. At that point, like, people will still eat. There will be a roof, warm water, indoor plumbing. I mean, let's not get crazy here.
You still have hot water.
Yeah, man.
You still taking vacations to.
So blessed for hot water.
That's hilarious. Yeah. While we were just talking about the Magic, I have some great like relationship and entertainment type stuff to talk about. But we got the Magic right here.
Just go ahead and call it great.
I think so. I think it will be. The Orlando Magic have been playing, really good ball. Now we're here in Orlando. Now we've been doing this podcast for a while. And we don't talk a ton about Orlando Magic, but Pink has a thing. He doesn't like to talk a ton about bad teams. Yeah, and that's in any sport. And so we don't spend a ton of time talking about bad teams. Well, that's not the case this year. As this Magic team, they're young, they're improving, they're developing, and you can kind of see where this thing is going. And the Magic are a team where they have all of their assets. They haven't moved anything, and they've done it I won't say the right way. It's just they've just started in the house to develop their own guys, and then they'll have options ahead of them how they want to improve the team and take it to the next level.
The most economic way to build your team is through the draft. Mm-hmm. And the Magic have done that. Like they went many years without being able to do it.
Yeah. They had some misses along the the way.
But you have to say at this point that Paula was a terrific pick.
Yeah.
That Wagner was a terrific pick.
Yeah.
And then the next tier of guys, like Suggs hasn't blown me away, but he's sort of worked himself into a good professional player.
Yeah.
And Cole Anthony's another guy. Like he's, you might have probably when he was picked hoped for more, but he's a guy now off the bench, comfortable with the role. And now they're a team that's very deep and versatile. And they're even getting a contribution from Jonathan Isaac, who is another guy that was high pick. He showed some pretty good promise, but then was like devastated with a couple of injuries.
Back to back injuries.
To the point that you really felt like, I don't think this guy's ever going to be able to be an effective contributor at all.
Facts.
And I have a lot of respect for players. And the first guy that comes to mind for me is Sean Livingston, that kind of had that just, horrible injury, literally years of not being able to play, and then salvage this piece of a career that was very good in Golden State.
That's a great example.
And it feels like Jonathan Isaac, a little bit of that. And the other guy that you have to look at is Fultz. And he's also in that thing of just, the top pick in the draft. Things couldn't have gone worse in Philadelphia from a health standpoint and eventually a mental standpoint. And that guy has had the mental toughness to work through all of that and become a good NBA player.
Yeah.
And so it's really a team that, and for years, they just seem to be a collection of random players. But now there seems to be an identity to them. And it fits together, and you've got these guys that have overcome injuries and are kind of like young veterans, and then you've got the actual young players on the team that have talent and are kind of playing up to their draft pick status, and it's really been impressive, man.
It really has been, and for the Magic fans, see, a lot of these guys, once you have a young team that you believe in and become somewhat successful, you become attached to all of these players. And there's going to come a time where they're going to have to spend some money to really improve this team. And I don't know.
Or to keep it together.
Or to keep
you're gonna have a fork in the road. At some point, these guys are going to be coming due for, as long as if you continue to progress. And I think they're the 2 or maybe 3 seed in the
right now. Yeah.
If they go 2-3 years at this relative level, all these guys are going to feel like they need more money.
More money, but not that it'll break you. Like OKC has guys that it could break them. Yeah. Like they have about 3 or 4 max players.
But the way the max works though, like a lot. I mean, they'll probably have to pay Paulo and play.
They'll have to pay Paulo
and Wagner probably.
I'm not sure about.
Here's the thing: in a vacuum, I agree. Don't do it. But in the market of the NBA, you probably have to.
You probably have
and
to.
then in some of these other guys, they're going to look, and maybe a guy like Suggs is going to be, hey, I'm a role player here. I think I got more in me than that. And
maybe Cole develops into maybe the top 6 man in the league.
Right, and there's a lot of things. They'll either the money's going to have to be spent one of 2 ways. Either they're going to have to spend it to keep what they feel is a good core, or they're going to be close enough to feel that they're one big piece away and have to spend it.
That's still a part of my point. Because when you one big piece away and you spend it there, my point is one of these guys are going to have to probably leave the team.
Yeah.
And I don't know what position group for the Magic you would even upgrade to that degree. Is it the guard position? But those guys I feel like are the biggest fan favorites between Markelle, Cole, and Suggs. Like, the Magic fans love those guys. But I think if I had to guess or if I had to pick a position group to upgrade to take this team to the next level whenever that they plan to do that, I think it's at the point guard position. Do you agree or?
I look at it differently in the sense of I'm going to look at it and say, like, who's available.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and I think, like, if you look at, like, a free agent class or you look at, like, a disgruntled star class, that's what you're going to make the decision on. And I think it'll be less position-oriented than quality of that guy. Like, I don't know who it is. And again, it's, like this past season, it was Dame.
Yeah.
And, like, so that was the guy. Everyone kind of knew there's probably a move here. And then, are you looking at the pieces going, all right, do I want to get in on this? I don't know who that next guy is going to be. Maybe it's like a Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
And, because whatever, it's Ant's team. He does,
whatever the case may be.
And then, okay, we got to make a decision. Is that what we want? Are we, we want to go all in for that?
Some other names bubbling. Zion.
Yeah, another one. Yeah.
Zach LaVine.
I wouldn't do anything for Zach LaVine.
Me either.
He's a good NBA player.
Siakam.
Yeah. I just don't think that you don't bring a Zach LaVine to a team
Magic.
that's Orlando and have a difference.
No.
To me, he's maybe a third guy.
Yeah.
But again, he's a high volume scoring third guy, which is an odd fit for even a very good team.
He'll come to the Magic wanting to be the man and take every shot.
It's one of two things. He's either going to come to the Magic with, in his mind, I'm the number one, and that'll probably go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Or he goes to a real genuine contending team, like ready to roll team, but he'll have to accept being like the third guy. But a third guy, high volume scorer, that's not a historical precedent for success.
No, not at all. Especially when your top guy or second guy is an offensive player. You know what I mean?
The reality is,
most
ones
of them,
and twos are high efficiency offensive guys. That's what it is.
There's been times in the past when it hasn't been the case, but yeah, that's definitely the usual, especially in today's NBA. That's definitely probably the case there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna track the Magic, see where they go out. You definitely just gotta love this team. They're number one in defense right now. They're the number one defensive team in the league. Offensively, I think they're like ranked number 13th, 14th right now, which is as high as they've been since probably the Dwight years. So we'll see. Now, as far as where they will probably ultimately end up in the standings, I think they will avoid the play, and it's still so early, right? So, I know the Orlando Magic fans are loving it. They're tearing up the Papa John's in the area, and I'm not sure how long Papa John's is going to keep this alive.
Please ride that one till you go out of business. Papa John's is garbage, man. That is trash.
Oh, they should give it away, huh?
Yeah. They should just close up and be done with it, man. Take your special ingredients and burn them.
The beautiful thing about what the Magic is, I don't believe in either the middle of the pack teams in the East. I've never been a fan of the Knicks and what they have. Julius Randle is just a mess. For him to be a max player, I would shoot myself in the face if I was a fan of the New York Knicks.
Really? You wouldn't just pick another team? I'd kind of blow my own head off. Out of options.
I'm out of options. The Knicks are out of options, man. Miami Heat. Who
I realistically think that the Magic could probably get to 4.
Yeah.
Hold it 4. I mean, they're ahead of that right now.
Yeah.
I think over the long
so,
haul,
man.
Boston, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee are probably the top 3, and over the 82 games that should show itself. But I think 4 is very much in play for the Magic if they don't implode.
And what's interesting, before the season, I forgot which Orlando Magic fan I was talking to, but I posed that exact question, like, hey,
was it D-Law?
Nah. she just hopped on the train. That's fine.
Fake ass fan. So I wanted to buy jerseys.
I was talking. It's like, what team can you guys see yourselves like literally, being better than? And he's naming all these teams: Atlanta, Cleveland, Brooklyn. I'm like, I don't know, man. but now I'm looking at it like, why can't they? Like, why can't they end up being a better team? Than Atlanta and all those teams I just named. And Indiana is interesting. Right now, they're on a historical offensive pace. They're the number 1 offensive team in the league, but their defense is atrocious. They're like next to last or something.
Yeah,
but
like you pointed out, though, like the Magic, there's a substance to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, metrically, they're doing good defensively. Metrically, they're doing good offensively. There's that substance. They're not like they're playing good basketball.
Yeah, it's not a flash in the pan.
Yeah, it's not some hokey thing that's not sustainable. I actually met Jamal Mosley.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was at B. Rich's son's flag football game.
Oh, okay.
Mosley's son plays for them as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I made some incredible coaching adjustments in the playoff run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I got my full due. That's why I'm talking about it. B. Rich, I'm sending you this clip. I made, start the second half of one of the games. I made a single adjustment, the very first play, touchdown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was awesome.
Were you coaching the B. Rich's son?
Yeah, I was helping with B. Rich's thing, and I was like, the way this other team was aligned, I saw an opportunity, and it wasn't one of the plays that they kind of had run, but I'm like, here's what you need to do, get this guy. We want to hit the ball here, and it was a touchdown.
So you're diverse. You're football and basketball coach.
I started in football, bro.
Okay,
I did.
coaching?
Pop Warner. Yeah, that was my first coaching experience was football.
Okay.
I remember when I coached Pop Warner when my kids were here. We're small. No, they're still here. But the craziest thing, so I didn't realize this, but so you're coaching, and then they tell me, yeah, we have a guy that goes and films the other team, and so every week you're gonna have film.
Michigan allegations.
No, it was all above board. But I was just I was like, You're serious?
That's next level, Pop Warner.
This is stealing candy from a baby. I assumed that every other team was doing this too.
Yeah.
And so every time I would to start games and throughout games, I would run the same stuff, but I'd run it from different formations, so it was never the same.
Yeah.
But these other idiots are so stupid. They run everything from the same thing. Same. And so I'm just the second they set up in something, I'm like, hey, this is gonna be a reverse. We're on the reverse. They could, fucking kids are 6 years old. They couldn't check out of it, and we just loaded up and smashed them. It was this was ridiculous. It was literally it was like having all the answers to the test. I felt like Mike Ross from Suits, taking a bar for the 80th time.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Ross, man. Yeah. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. All right, let's get to a little fun here. Then we'll come back to sports.
Sports is drudgery and hard work.
I know, right?
No, he ain't playing.
There was this clip I saw, and what it was is this I guess it's somewhat of an interview, and this guy's talking to this lady, and she's explaining how they did some type of poll where it's okay, they polled the men, and there were only 3 things men would look for in relationships or dating, or when they're trying to date a woman and take her out or whatever. And it was something about good looks. She's going to explain in the video, but good looks and 2 other things or something. But when they polled the women about things that they need as in a man, for a successful date or relationship, it was a whole list of things that I'm going to play the video so you guys see it. We'll react to it.
The book is based on a survey where men and women were asked if they got 80% of everything they want in their ideal mate, would they be happy with that? And women said, no, that's settling. And men said, 80%, I'd be thrilled, that's a catch. And so
80% of the women you surveyed is settling?
That's settling because, the question is, what actually makes us happy in long-term romantic love? And, that's the question that I explore in the book. And I'm a journalist, so I went out and I asked neurobiologists about chemistry, and I asked behavioral economists about demographics, and I asked marital researchers.
What are women too picky about here?
Well, I'll tell you, men and women were asked what would be a deal breaker for going on a second date. And men named 3 things. They said she has to be cute enough. She doesn't have to look like Angelina Jolie. She just has to be cute enough. She has to be warm and kind. And she has to be interesting to talk to. Those seem like really valid criteria.
Ding, 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 ding. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay, reasonable, right? The women came back with 300 things that would rule out a guy for a second date. And we're talking about like another 2 hours and maybe a free dinner. And they wouldn't do it. And there were things like he wore a brown belt with black shoes. Or we were having a really good time and I thought he was cute and he was interesting. But then he did this Austin Powers impression. And I just can't get that out of my mind and I can't go out with him again. Austin Powers guy could be the love of her life.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's great, right?
That is great.
That pretty much sum it up for you.
Yeah, that's like the what men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Like it's 2 different things. It just literally is. Guys are looking for one thing and women are looking for something completely different. And that's why all these relationships are miserable. Like in all seriousness, it is what it is, but you're just sitting there and it's like you want some good coochie, you want serviceable conversation, and you basically want peace.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. And then the women fixate on belts and shoes. And, unless you like to get spanked, I don't know what else we need to worry about my belt for. That's, I don't know. You prefer to get spanked with a black belt? Yeah, just it's crazy. But I think, I don't know. I think it's like there's like a princess syndrome with women. I think that they're a lot of times raised in a way to kind of like view their life as kind of like a princess fairy tale story, and that they want that to be played out in real life. And a lot of times I think when you're in a relationship, I think that's why you don't even feel sometimes like you're a part of the relationship, that you're just playing a role of a character who's supposed to do certain things and react certain ways. And then when you don't react that way, and they get mad at you, it's like, hey, I missed the reading. I'm sorry. I wasn't there when we went over that part of the script. I'm on my own. I think that happens a lot, and it's just like, I've talked to a lot of guys about it. You have a feeling like, okay, you're just kind of this playing a role in this bigger picture that she has for the fantasy of her life. And then, again, when you're not in compliance with that, they tend to get unhappy.
Yeah, that's. I was talking to this girl, and she may be watching now. That's why I'm stuttering a little bit.
I've never seen you nervous. Actually, I have.
No, but it was.
Talk about that.
But she was basically telling me a dating story that she had.
Yeah.
And she was saying how they went out for a drink. And she was like, I really didn't want to go out with this guy, but I went out anyhow. That's the first red flag. Come on. Don't go out with a guy if you really don't want to go out with him.
If you're not 10 toes in, stay home.
And she's like,
cook your own food.
And she's like, we go out and, go out and get drinks. He asked me to go out and get drinks. So he picks me up. We go out, have drinks, right? So he picks her up. They go out. They have drinks. Now listen,
am I an idiot?
No, because that's a part of the story. I'm going to circle back to that. That's why I wanted to make sure I got that in.
I felt attacked, but okay.
So he bought the first drink. Everything's good. The second drink, he asks her. He's like, "Hey, you want to buy us a drink?" Right. Now, of course, that's not really, typically how things will go. And even me, if I'm taking a woman out, I'm going to pay whatever, just to avoid the BS, whatever, and I want coochie, so whatever. And that's just what we're told to do. You have to pay for the date. You have to do this, whatever. But this guy...
Just imagine you get to the end of that date when you asked for her to buy a round, and she's like, man, I was going to bang the hell out of you, but you asked me to buy that round. I just ended it right there.
Well, yeah, so that completely threw her off, like when he proposed that. she buys it, right? But as soon as she buys it, then she becomes like, detached from conversation.
She's checked out.
She's checked out.
Yeah.
And then like
she's on her phone. Scrolling through Instagram.
Now once she's detached, she becomes detached from conversation and things like that. Eventually he just gets up like he's going to the bathroom, but he just leaves. He completely leaves. And then, she has to Uber home or whatever. And but that's like, I don't think that's not something I would do, but I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. He buys the first round. It's a first date, first time you talking to this person. You guys are not having any sexual relationships or anything. He buys the first drink. Then I guess, I don't know if he was testing her, or I don't know if he didn't have enough money for a second drink. I have no idea what the situation is. But he asked her to buy the second round of drinks. What's so fucking terrible about that?
To me, it just sounded awful when you said it. It sounded terrible. I generally feel that if you ask a person out to do something, you're going to pick that up.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that, like about it where like, at the inception, if you ask somebody, hey, let's go grab some drinks, and they're like, yeah, hey, that's cool, but I'm getting my, if unless it's on front like that, you just bite the bullet and pay.
Yeah.
That I just don't. That just sounded awful. Like,
yeah.
Hey, do you want to get us a drink? Like I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely not a page in my playbook.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that that's the worst thing in the world. That's all.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but it definitely it's tone deaf. Like there's no way you do that. Like you think that that's going to go over well.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that. That's just wild to me. That's like it almost feels like a self-sabotage move.
Yeah.
Like maybe he already got a bad vibe and he's just like, all right, I got it around. I don't want to deal with this.
Oh, there you go.
I really probably that's the thing.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
let
one.
me I want to get out of this. So there's nothing that's going to get me out quicker than her having to spend some money. So let me do this and yeah.
But that princess treatment, that's interesting. A thought process as well, because we all know, that's how a lot of women are raised and brought up. The world is yours, and you're supposed to get everything how you want it, when you want it, and how
and as a father of like a daughter, like like I knew I was guilty of that. Like as it was happening, your daughter says, "Oh, Dad," whatever, and like you're just like, "Yeah, whatever."
You're trying to make it happen.
And slowly over time, my daughter will confirm, like that's kind of gotten away. There's a lot of no's, in her life, sadly. But like, that's at some point you're just kind of like, yeah, it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard, it happens without you thinking when you're a dad. And, because again, there's a part of you when you're a dad, you're like, man, I want my kids to be prepared to deal with real stuff. Yeah. And, real stuff is part of adversity. So I don't want to create this overly sheltered environment and sense of entitlement. But I don't know. It just ends up you do. It's man. It's tough.
Oh, man. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Let's see here. Hold on. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Matter of fact, let's get to our one of our sponsors here, Royal13thebrand.com. Royal13thebrand.com. If you use promo code Bubba Pink, you'll be fresh heading to this cold winter. Looks like we might have a cold one here. And wherever you're at, you can use promo code Bubba Pink and get those clothes at a discount.
Do they have overnight delivery? Because it's gotten cold this week.
It was cold this morning.
I thought it was a couple days this week.
Yeah, a couple days
like,
this week, man.
What are we doing?
A couple days this week.
Was it like a week ago we had like rain most of the week?
Yeah, man. The whole week.
The whole day, all day for multiple
it was crazy.
days.
It was crazy. I said
if I was a handier person, I would have been building an ark.
I said, man,
imagine being on the ark though.
Yeah.
We got two of y'all just to fuck. That's what this is all about. Like, whatever you are, you're a goat, you're gonna fuck it up. You're a tiger, have at it, buddy. You're me, damn sure I'm getting it.
And you have no other choice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is your job.
This is it,
like,
man.
do your job.
This is it.
Bang it out, live rounds, shoot up the club. That's pretty wild, man.
It is very wild.
I think the Ark was underrated historically.
I think so.
Yeah.
We don't have enough parables or movies about it. You know? He could have done.
You gotta think some cross species fucking happened too.
I had to.
Damn.
Why not? You're right there. Try it out.
Yeah.
They were on that thing for a very long time.
A lot of those animals aren't too smart either.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I thought you were a goat. I don't know you were a dog. Like, what's up?
What's going on? You think Noah and his old lady was doing a lot of screwing?
Hell yeah.
On that boat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, you got the kids there, right?
What
They had
kids?
right? They didn't have any kids?
No, that's why they had to get on the boat and screw.
Yeah.
That was their job too.
They have to replenish the earth.
The whole population. They
Yeah.
got a lot of responsibility.
Why not get started on the boat?
Yeah. Jesus, though. I mean, really, if you think about it, we're all the products of incest after that.
Yeah, no. That's unfortunate. Well, it started with Adam and Eve. But
That's true. Damn. Double levels of incest.
Double levels.
Tough for humanity, man.
It is.
Wow.
And we all
Kinda
came
ruined
out.
my day.
All came out different colors.
That's right. Amazingly.
Speaking different languages. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. But not really.
What else is great is that there's this guy over here in OKC.
Speaking
Speaking of, right? No, but Josh Giddey of OKC Thunder. He's a young, up-and-coming forward, a guard, whatever you want to call him. I got cussed out because I called Jimmy Butler a guard, so you have to be careful.
Who cussed you out over that?
You have to be careful about these things. Some guys, they take these positions very serious. So I don't know. Whatever.
Modern basketball is positionless.
Yeah, I know.
What dinosaur are you arguing with?
I don't know, man. But Josh Giddey, this upcoming guard / forward here, and he's getting into some trouble here where. If you've been under a rock where he's been with the underage guy, I'm going to play this quick video here. Then we're going to talk about it here.
Is Josh Giddey Karl Malone 2.0? This is how Josh Giddey potentially ruined his career. Josh Giddey is an Australian NBA player drafted in 2021. He has had a promising career, becoming the youngest player to record a triple-double, only being 19. Recent allegations suggest he has had a relationship with a 15-year-old girl while he was 19 at the time. Was she lying about her age? Remember, these are still allegations.
Right. So there you go. That's a quick snapshot of what's going on with Josh Giddey. Now, it's been whispers and then rumors and then conversations about it, but and the NBA initially said they were going to look into it, and now the newest update is that the police is finally going to investigate Josh here and see exactly what happened and what was going on.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I have a take on this that's multifolded. Do you have something that you
my
read?
take is he's potentially the R. Kelly of the NBA with 10% of the talent.
Josh is good, man. He's not R. Kelly
Come
type
on.
of. I know, but he's good.
All right.
I'll say 25%.
I'm not going higher than 12.5.
Listen, man.
What is your layered take on Josh Giddey's
my layered take?
Desires.
Number one, I don't know. Shoot me in the head. I just don't think it's that bad.
Really?
I don't think it's that bad. You got 15, almost 16, okay, and then you have a 19-year-old. A couple of things. Essentially, they could be in the same high school at the same time, okay?
But we know weren't.
We're talking 3 or 4 years difference.
But he was in Australia and she's in Southern California.
We're talking 3 or 4 years. I'm just saying, essentially, they could be in high school at the same time. This is the time difference, the age difference we're talking about here, and maybe he didn't know. Even if he did know, it's bad, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. He's a couple of years older. I mean, he's a young guy. I don't think this is not like pedophilia. It's not. I don't think it reaches that level. I mean, he's a young guy. He's a teenager, for God's sake, and he's just with another he's with a younger person. I know it's bad. It's bad, but it's not terrible. And hold on,
okay.
Really quick here, because the second part of that is because you got all of these people on social media. Oh, they throw away and lock the key for Ja Moran and these guys, and it's because he's white, and I think that's so crazy to me also, because it's just I just don't think it's that bad. So that's why I don't believe extreme measures has been taken. Will he be suspended? Probably so. He probably will be suspended. There probably will be some sort of fine, or I don't know if any jail time will come of this, but there will be some penalty, and there should be some penalty. But there's not going to be anything of extreme measure taken. I don't think it should be.
Okay. I do believe that if this is a sexual relationship, that it is pedophilia. I believe that. I do think that this is disturbing.
You think it's the level of disturbing?
If there were sexual relations involved, if that's the case, and I mean, if it's something, again, I don't want to speculate too much because it is an allegation. But let's just say that this is some sort of like just general friendship, mentorship that has evolved between these two people, and there's absolutely no sexual or intimate component to it. Let's just hypothetically, it's allegations, let's say that. No problem at all. But if this is any way sexual, it's 100% pedophilia. If she's 15 years old and you're 19, that's a huge gap. Like just developmentally, mentally, all that stuff. And especially when you're Josh Giddey and you're 19 years old, but you've like been playing professional basketball like in Australia before you ever got to the USA. You're moving in NBA circles for the last 2 years.
Well, that's the next piece of it, though.
But
he's from Australia. That's what they do. The legal no, it's not a joke. The legal age is 15, 16.
We know it was 16 and 17. We looked it up
16.
Before the show.
That's who knows? Maybe her birthday is the next day.
But like they also
16.
They also said that, you know, and again contextually, and I think that there's a big gap here because of like the way Josh has lived, like being in a professional environment from 19 or from 18 probably. That's different than like a guy who's like in high school together with.
Listen, when they say that means if you're 40 or 50 years old, you can be with a 16-year-old. That's what that means. So like that's their culture. That's what they grew up on. And also there's a couple of places here, I believe. And I don't want to get that muddled because I have to Google and everything. But we know for sure there are many places in Australia where 16 is that age limit, right? Is the age whatever. And so, with that being said, we have to give this man you got to give him a little break. I don't think it's pedophilia or disturbing if that's what he grew up on, his culture, where he's from, and things like that.
You can't excuse that. If you grow up in a racist household, are we supposed to?
No, that's not the same. That's not the same. That's not the same. How? Because we're talking about something that is a law, a passed law. By your government,
slavery was legal.
I was going to say, if we're talking 1900s, early 1900s, and you grew up in a racist household and you can own slaves, yes, that is okay. That is okay if you grew up 3, 4, 5 years old and you grew up in that environment and it is still legal. Like, I don't blame those kids growing up to be racist. That's what they grew up to be, and it was legal at that time. But that is a good comparison.
But what do we know about Josh Giddey's upbringing? We know that there's a law that says you people can have intimacy.
That's it. That's enough to know.
That's not.
That's enough to know.
That's not. Because, like, personally, I'm not comfortable in a society with 30 and 40-year-old dudes banging out 16 and 17-year-olds.
But that's what's happening over there.
And it's happening here too.
Maybe.
It's happening, but it's happening here too.
I don't want to say
no, I don't think that it happens with great regularity.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's not cool. Like
right.
That's the thing. Fuck the law. Like, I don't care what the law is. There are things that transcend the law and that are right and wrong. And I'm telling you, if I'm like at the mall and like there's a guy my age or your age and they're walking around with a clearly 16, 15-year-old girl. This is not what we want.
Right. Now,
like,
and listen, and I'm not saying, what I am saying is bad and it is wrong. I want to make sure that's clear. What I'm saying, I don't think it reaches the level of pedophilia or disturbing. That's my.
But see, here's where I'm going with this, and why I think it is a huge problem, because if this is Josh Giddey's taste, if he is drawn to these younger, right on the fringe line girls. And again, this is not like a sheltered dude, and this is all he's ever known.
He's 18, 19 years old.
He's also
what else is he supposed to like?
He's traveled the world. Like, he has some experience.
That doesn't matter.
He has access to other women.
He does, but all women. He has access to all of the 16, 17,
and
18.
What my point is this is a guy that is traveled, that has a certain degree of celebrity, that can attract women. Not being homo here or whatever. He seems like a reasonably attractive guy. There's nothing wrong with him. And if he is choosing to be with the younger girls, like, that ain't changing. That's his taste. Now, that's R. Kelly territory. That's Michael Jackson territory.
It is if there's multiple.
That's what that is.
Like, and maybe, and who knows? Maybe this is like, you know how this happens. It happens where there's one case, and then sometimes a door opens.
That's
and
Giddey.
yeah. And then who knows? Yeah. Now, if that's the case, I'm with you. I will change. New information will change my take and my. But
to me, I say
one girl.
To me, I say be prepared for that, because that's what this.
It's on the table.
Like.
It's on the table.
That's what it feels like.
But at the moment, one girl, like, who knows, like you said, who knows how this situation came about, how they met, what's been going on, how long they've been talking, if they even having sex, we don't even know that. So who knows, right? If it's one girl, come on, man.
Everybody's got to have a first.
I
agree. A serial killer's got to kill a first person.
I agree. If the door opens, I'm with you.
Yeah, and to me, I really think that's.
But let's go with what we know now. If it's one girl, you still reach the pedophilia disturbing level.
Yeah. Based on who he is and what we do know about his life experience.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's 18 and 19-year-old guys that have never left their hometown.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that's played pro basketball in his country, traveled extensively, plays and lives in a whole nother country. Like, he's had access to women. He's been in situations. And
do we know if he played 1 year of college ball, or did he?
No, he came from Australia.
Over there?
Came from Australia, yeah. And was playing, pro level ball over there.
Yeah.
So, like, he's been probably. And this is weird too, because maybe this, I don't even know but it's not necessarily sexual. But he's actually been, like, in the presence of probably older men, like, playing grown man basketball since he was probably 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to draw a correlation between playing basketball with grown-ups and then going the other way with young girls. But I just, this is very disturbing, because the fact that this is where he's at, really strongly suggests that this is a taste of his, and it's not a taste that's acceptable to me in society. That's it. I mean, again, to me, the only safe place in this is if they look into it and it's not sexual at all, and it's just some sort of, funky friendship, but just platonic and whatever. But if it's anything more than that, I honestly, like, get rid of the guy. Because people don't rehab from that.
Pick, it's not. It's not.
You don't.
It's not to that degree.
It's not to that degree.
You can't compare that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I don't like. We don't. Come on, man. We don't know. Like, we don't know if he's scrolling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,
but
20 of these girls.
Dude,
like, I'm just talking about if it really is just this one girl.
But how? That's not likely.
But what if it is? What is your take?
What
there?
If we win the lottery?
No, that's a crazy comparison.
No,
that's not what we're talking about.
That's not it. That's not crazy.
We can't pin this guy to be screwing all of these fucking young girls. To compare that to winning the lottery, that's not a shot. Listen.
If he has a sexual interest in a 15 or 16-year-old girl, that is what he's into. And he's going to be into that when he's 25. He's going to be into that when he's 35. He's going to be into that right before his funeral.
I know you because human behavior would tell you that. But there are anomalies. And I think this guy can be one. I don't know him. I've never heard him in an interview.
I believe in John.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I'm just.
You're a man of great.
There has to be some hope for humanity. There just has to be one hope for humanity.
It's not found in OKC.
Don't let me down, Josh.
He already has.
Do not let me down.
He already has. Dude, yeah. This is highly disturbing.
We'll find out. The NBA didn't find much out, but the police, I'm sure they will. And NBA doesn't.
They're not always the most competent guys. your faith may be misplaced.
They're not always the most competent.
I mean, good grief, man.
Yeah, but
there's
if
plenty
it's
of unsolved homicides that they're still looking around.
What TMZ have solved
we have whole TV shows committed to their incompetence.
Well, if TMZ finds more, then we'll find out.
We trust that Harvey guy in the TMZ show. Trusted him. I've got faith in that guy.
He'll find it.
Not the league. Not the police.
If there's something there, he'll find it. I'm sure. I am sure. All right, let's move along here. Let's go.
But I want to circle back to something though, because there is, like you alluded to, like kind of the race element in this.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like this has brought embarrassment to the league. At the end of the day, this has raised questions about Josh Giddey's character. And at the end of the day, if sexual translations transpired, it has harmed a person. It has harmed a minor in a serious and irreparable way.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely think a suspension would be appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps a suspension longer than John Morant. Now, John Morant's judge, and I'm still on board that John Morant should have been suspended for a whole season.
Me too.
And I stand on that. And I'm not falling back from that when I say this. But if there was some real substance to these allegations, he should be a year or more. And there should not be any grace because he's white and whatever. Because this is actually, if true, more horrible than John Morant's shitty judgment. He didn't fire.
No one was armed. No one was harmed.
Yeah.
He did pull a gun on an underage kid. Though.
Pulled a gun, yeah. And that's why season suspension is why I'm very comfortable with that. And again, I'm most comfortable with the idea that and my big rationale for the season-long suspension was you got to take basketball away and let this man, almost make this man find himself.
Yeah.
Because his current path wasn't the right one. Yeah. And he needs to find himself and realize, hey, I either want to be a hooper and be as good as I can in this, and I need to clean up the rest of this stuff in my life if I can, or this other stuff's, what I want to be. As hard as that is to imagine, that's some people conclude that in life.
Yeah.
And we have to, take that for what it is. So, yeah. But I do. If there's substance to this, I would expect and will be disappointed, and you can fairly question if it's race based. For him to
based off what they decide.
Yeah.
And we know the NBA takes a while with these type of things. And I'm sure they'll probably wait to see what the police, along with their investigation, they'll probably wait to see what the police comes up with as well.
One of the things that I look at as being like the toughest part of this is the girl, because
she's out there now. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, both of this, because like, if intimacy transpired, like probably nobody was a direct witness to that. Like that probably happened between the two of them. And if he denies it, which it's certainly in his best interest to do, you're left with her. And again, although it's we're not in the context of a criminal trial for rape, at least at this juncture, a lot of women are reluctant to testify in rape situations because they feel they'll be further victimized, and particularly if it's in comparison to somebody perceived as a celebrity, like the woman involved in the Kobe stuff. Like there's a reluctance to get involved in that and offer information that they think can potentially leak out publicly or whatever, and that's there's a situation where she may just shut down to police, to the league, to whoever, and there's never going to be enough evidence to show anything conclusive.
Is that precedent as far as rape versus this?
No, I wasn't really not talking in context
I'm
of
asking,
precedent.
but I'm asking. Like the Kobe Ben Roethlisberger case versus this.
This could be some sort of statutory rape potentially, but if she is 16, now there's talk that when the video or the picture she was 15.
Yeah.
If that's the case, it could be a statutory rape and can be prosecuted, as a criminal rape, to the full extent of the law. If she's determined to be 16 or 17 at
when
the time
action,
then it's then it may not be, unless there's some sort of like coercion or against her will or wishes type of situation. And again, I'm not a criminal lawyer, but and so I kind of give that caveat, but that would depend on the circumstances of that, whether it was truly consensual or not. And that's one of the problems that you have when you have these age disparities, power disparities, is that sometimes that younger person doesn't feel like they can say no, even if they want to, for various, direct physical threat, reputation threat, those sort of things, just general shaming. And if there's enough evidence that played a role in the person's consent, and it wasn't just consensual sex because I want to have sex and I'm of age to do so, then that could be prosecuted as well in a criminal setting.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. The next thing I wanted to move to here, let's go to this, right? Of course, sometimes we do crazy segments. Yeah, you're so crazy. So we want to determine whether these people are crazy or not, for whatever's going on here, and that's what we'll do. All right. So the first one, top left here, we have Aaron Rodgers returning to Jets practice. Now, of course, we know that he has this Achilles. He had an Achilles tear, and what we do know is he took a unique procedure that typically hasn't been done for sports athletes that we know to date. And so
is it done in other settings, just not with athletes?
Right, yeah.
Or is it like literally a very new procedure?
No, it's not groundbreaking.
Okay.
It's just a procedure that's not typically done with athletes. It's two-folded. It's the procedure plus his recovery method is how I read.
Okay.
All right. So he's done he had a unique procedure mixed in with unique recovery methods here. So we have that. And there have been rumors and whispers about him returning before the season ended, but who's going to believe that?
Those actually arose quite early.
Yeah, quite early.
But I will say this: there is precedent, and Cam Akers is
just
the guy.
Not this fast. But Cam Akers was faster than normal.
He made it back by the very end of the regular season, and he participated in playoffs.
Yeah,
and he actually played reasonably well. So yeah, and that there's precedent for it. For sure. And he, to my understanding, did not have the same procedure and rehab protocol that Aaron Rodgers is potentially benefiting from. So it's not like completely beyond the realm of possibility.
No, it's not. It's not. But the question is, why would Aaron Rodgers come back or try to come back so fast? That's what people are asking. And they're saying because the Jets are a bad team. The offensive line is bad. And if you're a quarterback who is coming off a bad injury, why would you want to get behind a bad offensive line and to have a shot, a small shot at making the playoffs? That's what people are saying. Or do you think he's crazy for coming back, so early for a bad team? Is the question.
I think by the standard of normal thinking, he's crazy. But to a competitive person, I get it. I totally get it. There's an element of this, and you can't underestimate it, is like he goes out, play 2 or whatever, and everyone assumes he's done. And he's looking at this thing, and he's recovering, and he's feeling like, no, I'm going to prove these people wrong.
Yeah,
I'm going to do this. And if he's locked into that motivation, and you got to realize a lot of people who suffer significant injuries and have these difficult rehabs, like one of the biggest things that they get through that process with is goals and like forward thinking. And so, you got to realize that like Aaron Rodgers might have got this in his head pretty early in the process and made it his goal, like made it his mission that I'm going to get back and play football this year. And if that's what's got him through this, and gotten him to the point where he's cleared to practice now, that's his choice. That's his choice, and I respect it.
That's my take. I thought we were going to disagree here. I know you said normal people, right? But my take is, man, is players play, and he's also a guy who's close to retirement as it is. He's an older guy, so to some degree, it's like, so what if I go out here and tear it again and I just retire?
Yeah.
If this is whatever, Patrick Mahomes or C.J. Stroud or something, and this is happening, yeah, I will err on the side. Hey, man, take this rest of the year off.
Yeah.
Come back. Let's fully heal this thing. We don't want to further damage and shorten your career by 5 or 6 years. But for Aaron, and I know, like you said, as far as competitiveness, he's probably you could tell he's probably the guy. Oh, you're saying I can't do this?
Yeah.
Let me show you that I can, and I will.
Any high-level elite guy, which Aaron Rodgers is unquestionably in that circle, that's what drives them.
That's what drives.
That's their mentality. Tell me I can't do something so I can.
Yeah.
It's way more interesting when you tell me I can't than that is. And that's that thing,
Yeah.
And there's a part of it, too, that I'm sure, like, you're putting in this work day after day after day rehabbing, and you're making progress, and you're reaching these little benchmarks along the way. And you get to a point where it's like, why aren't I playing?
Yeah.
Like, I can run, I can move, I can plan, I can throw, my velocity. Like, why can't I play? Yeah, the other one, I mean, Michael Jordan's injury in year 2.
Yeah.
And, the Bulls wanted to do, because they had this young, like you kind of talked with Mahomes, they got this young, incredible asset, and we want to protect it and all this other stuff. And he's just like, yeah, I can play. I want to play. This is what I want to do. And he went down to Carolina and started playing pickup and, whatever. And then he was on the minutes restriction. He was furious with that. And then he dropped 63 on the Celtics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's what great people do.
Yeah.
Like, they're not, shut it down, I'm out for a year. No, that's just not it anymore. And also, like, Aaron Rodgers is an outside-the-box thinker. And I'll guarantee you a portion of what his motivation is to justify and endorse the procedure and the rehab he had. Because he's going to, there's no doubt, if he comes back and plays this year, and anybody who suffers, and Jalen Phillips, the Miami Dolphins player, tore an Achilles last week on Black Friday, I guarantee you that, he probably was, well, what did Aaron Rodgers do? I want to do that, because you kind of already seen the product. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I think he's kind of almost being like a pioneer on this.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, if I come back and play, it verifies everything that I did. And remember his take on the vaccines and all that other stuff. And he's an original outside the box thinker.
Yeah.
When he champions something, he's going to go all in.
He's on
with
shrooms.
It. Yeah.
Going out into the woods, taking mushrooms.
Yeah.
Magical mushrooms.
Magical mushrooms.
He's a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he can stand in history if this works, and he can be the face of. Yeah, get that Aaron Rodgers procedure.
Well, I mean, in baseball, they have the Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
And, it was successful, and Tommy John was a guy that played when I was young, and people still throw the surgery around.
Yeah,
so they will have the Aaron Rodgers Achilles surgery.
There you go. Who knows? So we'll see. He's practicing. We'll see if he actually makes it to the field. Yeah. Which, I mean, why not? And the Jets haven't been mathematically eliminated. So that'll be interesting to see. It's just, man, I hope that offensive line can hold up. And, they still have the weapons. They just have a god-awful quarterback room.
Yeah, they're just in a really bad place because it's, Garrett Wilson's hugely frustrated. And he's such a young talent. And, you just can't, it just cuts you down. They've got nothing out of Dalvin Cook. So that was a wasted signing.
Absolutely nothing.
So there's a lot of, things going wrong with the Jets. And, it just goes back. I was not impressed with Robert Saleh in Hard Knocks. I think, I'm not saying he's a bad guy and I'm not saying he's incompetent, but he's not a value-add guy for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done a good job of managing this, locker room and this culture when adversity hit.
I for the life of me. And I remember when I talked to you a week before when they were talking about benching what's his name?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
They were talking about benching Zach Wilson. And then I was telling you how, Tim Boyle is the backup essentially behind Wilson.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you about how awful he was. Even in college, he was awful. But I don't understand. I know he's Aaron Rodgers' guy or whatever, and that's ultimately the answer.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they can let a guy be in the NFL, play for all of these years, and just steal all of this money and take up a roster spot, and eventually he has to play in these seasons. Like, he plays, and he's so awful. He looks like a regular guy off the street, like a regular guy. Literally, if you picked a guy out of a crowd and said, "Hey, we need some help down here. Wilson is hurt.
We need a new QB1." How you
just for a couple of quarters here, and then we'll figure it out next week. That's what he looks like, man.
Yeah.
And in college, he was just as bad. How does a guy get picked up like that? How does he maintain a job? And then you have all these other guys who are trying to make these teams who are competent and can play. That's outrageous.
It's
outrageous.
It is ridiculous. It's outrageous. But it's one of those things, right? Like, that backup QB spot is just like, it's not a real thing. Like, you literally just have to be like a good, pleasant guy that makes good conversation in the quarterback room, and be a likable guy. When you're Aaron Rodgers, when you're like a top dog, you just want a guy you enjoy hanging out with, and who's not going to threaten your job. And that's it. Like, you're going to take all the important reps. You're going to play, if you're healthy, and nothing else really matters. And quite honestly, you also know that if you do get hurt, the team's going to hell. And that's it. Like, so, okay, why not just have Tim Boyle back here?
Right.
I like to play golf with him on Tuesdays, and he's kind of a funny guy. And that's it.
I found it there because I was looking for it. So he came to UConn. He was
the Huskies.
He was benched weeks after becoming the first true freshman to start. All right, so he got benched after like a couple of weeks. Okay.
Is he a Connecticut guy? Is it his hometown?
Yeah, I think they said he was raised in Connecticut.
What does it say the city?
And then he Middlefield.
Okay.
Middlefield. Are you familiar with that area?
I've heard it. I don't understand.
And then he attended Xavier High School. Familiar with that at all?
No.
And then Connecticut. Now, spanning over 3 seasons
for the Huskies.
He passed for 1,200 yards, 1 touchdown, and 13 interceptions.
Jesus Christ!
How do you make it that far?
Yeah,
how do you make it that far to have those stats?
How do you get invited to like
any type of quarterback camps
of anything?
Or any type of NFL camps, mini camps?
That's crazy.
That's outrageous, man.
That is outrageous. I didn't think it was that bad, honestly.
Jeez Louise, come on, NFL.
That's crazy.
I want to be a friend. Let me befriend Mahomes or something. I mean, is that all it takes?
Be the backup, man. Yeah, I think. I mean, I've always heard, that's the thing.
But we'll check. Okay, so that's Aaron Rodgers. We kind of spit. I forgot we were good doing this. We try to go a little faster on this.
Yeah.
But that's good. We got Aaron out the way. I'm gonna save. Let's go to this. This is it. I saw this on Facebook, and this just is something I've always thought about.
Yeah.
So you can't bring a bottle to somebody's crib and take it when you leave. That's ghetto. Okay. In high school, this is my first time this happening. In high school, it was a high school party. Kelly Casabibi, I'll never forget. White girl, big booty, loves black guys. Okay. I don't know if she watches the show. But that's true. Right?
Was it choo-choo time?
But no, it wasn't choo-choo time. Kelly's cool. She's cool. She's cool.
Just not that cool.
But anyway, went to the party. I bought a bottle. Okay? Bought a bottle. I guess, I don't know if nobody liked my bottle or whatever.
What did you buy?
I don't even remember. It's way back. And so I bought the bottle, and nobody really drunk it. So at the end of the night, I took it.
Was this like before you understood liquor, though? Like, you just got something that was really bad? Like,
yeah, I mean, most likely so,
okay.
Right? But hold on. Oh, go ahead.
Like, where did you get it? Because, like, when I was that age, like, we didn't really have much. We weren't really rolling with the fake IDs too well. So, like, you'd literally just, like, somebody would snatch something from their parents' like liquor cabinet.
No. I just asked somebody.
Oh, okay.
Probably an older cousin or
I got you.
Something. And so I took the bottle with me at the end of the party. And I didn't even think, honestly, the guy, I didn't think anything of it. Nobody's drunk it. It's my bottle. I bought it and take it back with me. And that caused like this huge fucking riff.
Really?
Yeah. At first they were like, who stole the bottle? It was right there. Yeah, Kelly and her friend. And it's like, oh, we saw, Jerome take it. And he stole the bottle. Why would he steal the bottle?
Did you see Jerome bring it?
And then as life goes on, like that's the thing. Like you go to parties, and you go to people's, like, a house party or Airbnb party, and you bring a bottle. You're supposed to leave it. That's like protocol. That's supposed to be the protocol.
Yeah.
Now I've learned to do that, but I don't believe in that.
You don't believe in it?
I just went to my cousin Kobe. He normally watches and comments. I don't see him in it today, but he's here every week. And he had a Thanksgiving thing. I went over, all the family is over. I bought a bottle of tequila, and nobody drunk my tequila.
What's with you?
Do
people think you have AIDS? You finally found the AIDS?
I finally found it, right?
Like, what's going on?
But it was unopened or whatever. But anyway, nobody jumping tequila. I had a strong fucking urge to take my bottle with me. But and I guess on the other end of the spectrum, I look at it. Okay, you have the homeowner or whoever's conducting this party. You got people coming into their house, taking unlimited shits, sitting on the TV, watching the TV, eating the food, doing all this. I guess they're saying the least you can do is leave the bottle that you bring. It's like a gift for the
house.
The house.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna high school parties. I thought was different, to be honest with you, because my experience with a high school party, somebody's parents are out of town. And we're going to roll up and drink and act crazy at your house and hopefully not destroy it. Yeah. But, to me, taking whatever's not drank is like we're taking away evidence. We're protecting you.
Yeah.
We're not leaving the the worst thing we could do is leave the liquor bottle on your parents' bedstand and you didn't happen to look and clean that up before they came home. Now you're in trouble. So I in that setting I'm like, well, yeah, you need to take it. Just make everything just beer. And but no, once you're a college adult, yeah, if it's a gathering and you bring something for the group, you just leave it. It's like you said, it's whatever a benefit for whoever hosted the party.
Should it be that way though? Is that a bad rule?
Yeah.
No, it's a good rule.
I like it, man. I like it.
I don't know,
Somebody
man.
steps up to host the party and whatever. If they end up getting a little extra liquor or whatever, beer, totally cool. You come off classy, Bubba. You might not know anything about that. It's a good gesture. Get used to it as you head into your advancing years.
Okay. New comment here. So what if months later you go back to the house and that liquor bottle is still there unopened? Couple months they have a new party.
So then you're gonna take it then?
I'm asking.
I'm saying no way.
No way.
It's let it go, bro. Let it go. Let it go like Frozen. You gotta let that go. But I guess the question I gotta ask is, okay, you brought the bottle over. Why didn't at least you drink some of it while you were there?
Well, I know what my liquor tastes like. I want to try sample some of this. Somebody might have bought some more expensive liquor.
See, I'm selfish in the other way. I don't always trust what other people have at their house. So I'm damn sure bringing something I'm going to enjoy. And so there's really not going to be an issue if that didn't get opened. There may be some left over, but that thing's getting open. I'm making sure I'm straight at the situation. So, but again, months later, it's still untouched. That's a little weird. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you make the comment hey, you guys still haven't touched the tequila I brought over? Pansies? Let's go.
Yeah.
Or you use that to kind of flip the dynamic. So you're over there and it's hey, we're doing shots. Everybody's doing a shot. You break out that bottle. Yeah. Just make it go.
There you go.
I'm going to give shots to your dog.
This thing is getting drunk tonight. Okay. Next, Shay Sharp, man. Shay Sharp, I want to see if he's crazy.
I've seen a bunch of clips of him. So what are we talking about specifically?
Yeah. All right. So I am crazy for wanting to take my bottle.
Yes, you are. Make that.
All right. So I'm going to play this quick video clip. So Shay Sharp was on his nightly podcast that he has with Ocho. Fairly new.
They go every night?
No, I don't know. I don't know the schedule.
Okay.
Right. But I know it's done at nighttime, and they're talking about all this crazy stuff. And he had a comment about Megan Thee Stallion. And now Megan Thee Stallion fans and Megan Thee Stallion, they're uneasy about it, say he went too far. Here it goes here.
They look up longer, you look down. You know what I'm saying, Ocho? But hey,
yes, sir.
I have a stretched out like a 2:45. Badly. You know what I'm saying, Ocho? Don't play with me. Ocho, you better stop playing with me, Ocho. Man, Ocho, boy. Man, I got that liquid now on me. I keep that liquid on me now.
Quarter to 3. Meg, I know you're going to see this, Meg. I know you're going to see
So you have a stretched out like a 2:45. That is hilarious, man. He's fucking hilarious. But yeah, they're saying that he came off as like what's the word, like a perv. Came off uneasy, and that some of the comments. Some of the comments are saying that they feel like he's being too comfortable. ESPN may fire him soon. He needs to chill out. And Megan Thee Stallion didn't deserve that. She deserves more respect.
You build your whole shitty career on being a sex object, and then you deserve respect like you're the fucking Queen of England.
Chris says it's Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights at the NFL game. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Nah, man. So
she made a whole career out of that.
She did. That's her whole brand. But then I heard she was talking about, I'm giving up freaky sex now and whatever. It's like, all right, career's done. You have nothing else to offer. I mean, that's like, God, that's just what? Like, okay. So,
do you think it was out of bounds what he said?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because it's okay. It's not pervy because it's not like, some weird thing like I want to lick your booty hole and please fart in my face while I do it. That's a little, freaky, I guess. But and the way he did it though, like he did the 2:45 thing, like it's not super explicit. Yeah. But like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of almost like a little bit of a clever way to say that. Yeah. He could have been a lot more descriptive, explicit in what he was saying, and maybe that could have got him. But I thought that's the way you do it. You kind of say it without saying it, and I thought he did it. It was a clever way. Like I didn't fully get it the first time I heard it, and I was kind of, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. But yeah, I think that that's the way to do things. Is like when you're in this space, you kind of don't have to necessarily say everything, but you say enough to know where we are.
And then how many fucking male rappers put Megan Thee Stallion in their lyrics talking about what they want to do to her. Yeah. Like, come on, people.
But that's my whole thing. Like she's like, that's her career.
She's a sex symbol.
That's her career. That's what she promoted herself as. That's what she's embraced as. On the female side, she's embraced as a sexual independence and freedom or empowerment. And on the male side, she's just somebody to smash. And like, it's just, that's your brand. Like, don't try to say it isn't, and if that's your brand, you can't be hurt by somebody saying that. Yeah, it just makes no sense to me. It's stupid. Yeah. But no, I mean the way he went about it, it was funny. It had like an element of kind of like fake deception or whatever. Like it wasn't overly explicit and graphic detail. Every time I hear something like that though, like KD had like a tweet about some actress, and he was like talking about he wanted to like drink their bath water or something. Do you remember seeing that?
KD he'll sneak those in, man.
But that to me that felt way more pervy. Yeah, like just like okay. Yeah, I mean that was cringy. Yeah, was that? So I don't know. I just no harm, no foul here. But these guys have a good vibe.
They do.
They really play off each other well. And all that.
That was an interesting pairing. I wonder how that came about. Because Ocho, was he on another podcast with a group of guys?
He was on I Am Athlete,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, he was one of those guys.
He was one of those guys.
Yeah.
I think he was on it pretty early. Yeah. And I don't understand, because we know, like Fred and Channing went with RC, but I don't quite know what Chad's thing was in that. And again, I kind of stopped watching I Am Athlete when those guys left. I don't know if he lingered on for a bit or not. But he's prime time.
He is, man.
Podcast stuff, and even he did the World Cup soccer. They brought him over to Dubai or Qatar.
Oh wow!
And he did came in the
some
studio
commentary
and
stuff.
Yeah, brought him in the studio just to kind of clown around.
Yeah,
and he played like one of the former U.S. players in FIFA because he always talks about how good he is in FIFA. I forget
the video game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we talk to somebody together or some? I remember talking to somebody that played him. in FIFA,
online.
I guess you can be online, and like they actually got the lead, and he shut the game down. So Ocho was a little bit of a bad sport. Yeah. But you that wasn't with you. Like,
no, it wasn't with me.
Okay.
I know that FIFA game is huge though. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Chat, a lot of those guys, you can tell during their career. Yeah, if this guy wants to do commentating or whatever media, he'll be awesome at it. And these are two guys that you can just tell throughout their careers.
You do.
Like right now, Ant Edwards, if after his career is over, if he wants, he'll be awesome. He'll be gold.
He'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah. And there's just guys.
I think he needs to go into serious acting. I think he could be an actual actor.
You saw he said he wants to be the first NFL NBA guy.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking interesting.
He's on top of the world.
I want to see him do it.
Yeah, he's on top of the world.
Because
he was in The Hustle with Sandler, and then he was in another movie.
But the Adam, he looked like a regular actor.
Oh, dude, he carried the movie.
Just a natural.
He carried the movie.
He's a natural.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, Ty? What's going on, man?
I just had to
appreciate
do
you,
that
man.
one time.
What's going on, Tim?
Yeah,
do that, man.
Yeah, what's some real ratchet shit off the 42? We are in Orlando, huh?
Yes, sir.
This clip is gonna go viral. I've never seen no shit like that.
Appreciate you, man. What's going on, Tim? You good, man?
We outside.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
I had to interrupt that John.
Yeah. You know we on the Bench Podcast, man.
The best motherfucking podcast in Orlando, Florida.
You already know.
We appreciate it. State.
All right, Todd, boys. Appreciate you, man.
That's funny.
That's awesome, man.
We got attacked.
That's
appreciate
awesome,
those guys coming through and showing up.
Yeah, man, for sure.
That's so funny.
That's what you get, man, when you do a podcast on Orlando Rap.
Yeah.
Old Rap Studios, man.
Old Rap Studio family.
But you could just tell, man, with some of those guys, and like I said, you could tell with these guys as well.
Yeah. A great pairing, man.
Let's go to some NFL here, man. Let's get to some NFL, some active NFL players.
not these retired podcasters.
So the NFL MVP this year is going to be really interesting, man. Really, it's going to be really interesting because there's not a clear-cut guy. Right now, you would probably have to say Jalen Hurts, right? He's led some comebacks in recent weeks. They're the number one team in the league.
They're the top team in the league. But they're playing who are they playing?
San Fran.
San Fran this week, yeah.
They have San Fran still to play, and the one more tough team. I know they have one more tough. Oh, the Dallas. They have San Fran and Dallas right behind that. The San Fran game is going to be humongous to see how that plays out.
Well, the reason why I say that is if San Fran wins, kind of convincing, and I don't think they're going to smack the Eagles by 3 touchdowns or anything, but if they kind of control the game and win the game, to me, like, you're going to have that push for Purdy to get some more discussion in this MVP circle.
I don't think so, just because of what we saw when those guys were hurt, how bad he looked, and I think that's going to play a part. Now,
personally,
you're just saying get back into the discussion.
Personally, I agree with what you're saying. I think when the weapons weren't there, he was exposed a bit. But since the weapons have come back, they've been elite.
No.
And I'm simply saying, like, if they win and control, and he has a very good game,
he
gets in the discussion.
He will get back into the discussion.
But my belief is this thing's going to be won or lost in the last 3 or 4 weeks,
as it typically is.
Yeah.
And remember, last year it was Hurts. Hurts had it for the majority of the year, and then he got hurt. That was, like you said, the last 2 weeks. And then Mahomes kind of snuck back in there. They had too late.
There's recency bias.
There is.
Because the problem with the recency bias is we're not waiting to week 16 and kind of then starting this, who's the MVP? You're starting it. We had our first MVP session a couple weeks ago. And so, like, what you have then is you have these things where you're kind of like eliminating psychologically guys along the way. Purdy's one of them. And so, like, that's the thing. So, like, it's almost like a campaign, like an election, where you have kind of ups and downs and momentum shifts.
But you know what I will say also, not so much of there is some recency bias. I totally agree with that. But also what there is because it's also a standings thing. right?
Yeah.
So also when the Eagles when Jalen Hurts got hurt, right? I think that was the key clincher. But sometimes what happens is a team will lose a game or two down the stretch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it's like, so for example, right now the Eagles are they only lost one game, right?
Right.
They're 10-1. If what Mahomes need, if he wants a chance at winning this thing, and Lamar, is for them to lose to San Fran, for them to lose to Dallas.
Right.
Now, and the reason why I say no recency bias may not play a part this year is because, for example, the last 3 games for the Eagles are the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants. They're going to destroy those teams.
Right.
So, if it gets to that point and, then recency bias will say it's going to be Jalen Hurts MVP to lose. But if they lose to San Fran and Dallas and they have 3 losses, Baltimore has 3 losses, Kansas City has 3 losses, I don't think recency bias is going to play such a key factor. I think also stats will come into play.
But it will in a way because, like, what I was saying about Purdy is true about Hurts. If they win and beat the 49ers and they maybe only have one other loss down the road and they're sitting there at 15-2 at the end, it's his. And that's part of that recency bias. But like you were saying, for Hurts' campaign, if they drop the 49er game, drop the Dallas game, and our 3 losses and a couple of these other teams are on par with that, that takes away one of Hurts's pluses.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts him back in that mix. And now that's why I said maybe, like, that's how a guy like Purdy gets involved in the discussion. Because, I mean, since they got healthy, and got Chase Young, they're smashing people. So, I mean, my line of thinking is if they beat the Eagles this week and blast people the rest of the way, like, they're gonna, I think they're 3 losses, but we'll probably been on a 9-game winning streak at the end. And if Purdy's playing at an elite level, and the consensus is this is the best team in football, he's in the discussion. He might get it.
He'll be in the discussion.
The Chiefs have been hindered with the drops, and that's kind of, it's resulted in some losses for the Chiefs, and it's also diminished Pat's personal stats.
It has, but if it's close, this is what, and this what Mahomes needs help, right?
Yeah,
he's not in the driver's seat.
Yeah,
but my thing is, if this thing gets close, if Philly loses a couple games, and then you have San Fran, you have the Eagles, you have the Ravens, all with similar records. Then I think they will take into part the valuable piece, because Mahomes out of that group of guys will have the least amount of talent, but the same record with similar stats.
Here's everybody's pathway. Like, Hurts, win these next couple games, get to the end of the year with the best record in football, and I think you win the award. Purdy, win out in dominating fashion. These other teams all take some lumps here and there, and you're the one that's the only team that's 14-3 at the end, and you've won 9 in a row, and you've been instrumental. That's your campaign.
You have a strong shot. Yeah.
Pat's campaign. You get to the end of this thing, all the records are relatively comparable, and people in their gut can't fathom, knowing that you're the best player on earth, can't vote for somebody else. Like, if you don't have a clear advantage over Pat, you got to vote for Pat. Yeah. That's his campaign. Lamar, I think he needs help. I don't think he's an easy choice. I think the other teams need to falter a bit, and then if they continue to
needs the most help, unfortunately.
I do.
And the Ravens have had a good season. The problem is Lamar has statistically he's taken a dip. And maybe that's been needed for the team to take a jump. I don't fucking know.
Right.
But the defense is playing strong. They have a strong running game. But he hasn't been the same Lamar statistically that he's been in years past. But they're still winning. He's playing winning football. It's not that he's a bad player.
That's catch-22 because he also, like, he hasn't had too many, like, iconic plays this year. Yeah. Where, like, that individual thing. And so, again, he is such a brilliant, fantastic performer that, like, again, part of his campaign would be to have a couple moments where only dude on the planet could do that.
Yeah.
Like, only dude, Yeah. And that's the thing. And so I think he's actually in the weakest position of this. But I think at this point, those are the 4. And if they all falter and Tariq gets to 2,000+ yards, he might get a look. But
might get
very
down.
But and
I'm glad you brought that up, because I did want to mention that. I do want people should stop the Tariq talk. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's the best receiver in football right now, and he's a great player. He also made the comment that this Dolphins team is better than the Chiefs this Dolphins offense is better than the Chiefs offense that he won a Super Bowl with, which I don't agree with at all. But it's just that, you know, like when you take a look at the Dolphins' losses against those great teams, like Tariq didn't play well either.
Yeah.
In those games, he had a couple big drops. Remember in the Chiefs game, he had that huge drop, and also his yardage is not there. And you know, and that matters, man, because you already at a disadvantage. Playing any other position outside of quarterback.
Yeah, you have so many things against you.
You have to play up. You have to be perfect. Damn near. It's unfortunate. But you look at the guys who have won MVP that haven't been a quarterback. They pretty much pitch perfect season.
Yeah, and that's why his only pathway is to have the 2,000-yard plus season, which nobody's ever done. But he already has a couple hits, and in some of the bigger games, he hasn't delivered his best stats. Now, I mean, flip it. And if you said, if he had his 3 best statistical performances in the games that they've lost,
he'll be one of these guys on that list.
You know, and it's a much stronger candidacy.
Yeah, he'll be one of those guys on that list for sure.
Yeah,
and I would love for a good person outside of quarterback to win MVP, just because it doesn't happen that often, man.
Shout out to Tariq too. He popped up on the Champions League studio show.
Oh man, you got all these guys popping up.
They were down in Miami, and he came out and talked with the boys.
Do they? I mean, maybe they think it's when they say football. Let me tell you something, man.
No, of course. Tariq, of course, he fed the machine. He's like, yeah, when I was little, I played soccer up in the middle school, and I scored all the goals, and I wanted to do that. But ironically, the first person in the history is like, but my mom wanted me to play football.
When I went on that cruise. Before you go, there's all these different type of events you can sign up for. There was a basketball game.
Oh, really?
I was really freshly hurt then. I signed up anyway, just in case it was just shooting.
In case you need a couple minutes.
No. I
can stand in the corner for you, coach.
Yeah, but maybe it was a shooting competition or something. But these guys were full on playing. Okay. And there's bowling. There's you can sign up for comedy and things like that. And then there's a football game you can sign up for. It's football. So I was like, I'm not going to sign up for football, but I'm definitely going to go watch the guys play.
Right.
And see how it's set up on this cruise ship. That's interesting. So I get there, and there's these guys. Remember, it's a Uber Soca cruise. So it's these guys from all these different countries.
Right.
It's not really any white or African Americans. There's people from other countries. I get there. And they're playing full-on soccer.
Yeah.
On the basketball court.
Okay.
Where they have these goals. And they're playing. Yeah, they're not fucking around.
Yeah.
These guys are really into it. They're pushing each other. They got the referee out there. You got the cards and everything.
Yeah.
These guys are taking this dead serious at 9 in the fucking morning.
Dude,
and there's a crowd. There's a big crowd watching, and they're yelling, they're screaming. I'm like, damn. And I'm thinking, I was like, I really thought this was going to be a
American football. That's funny. Nah, the Caribbean, man. It's big.
Man.
But nah, for real though, like Caribbeans and Africans too.
Yeah.
They
Africans
play.
There was a group of Africans.
But they play very physical.
Yeah,
very
that's what
physical.
It looked like.
That's just how it is. That's the game. I used to play a couple times a week with a bunch of West Indian guys up on Redbug Park. And it was, it's a mix of dudes, and some were older, some were younger, but it was good games, very physical. And then the other thing is everybody's yelling and loud as hell.
That's what I'm saying.
And so if you just walk by, if you were just going to the park to play t-ball or something, you could think a fight was about to break out, but 3 seconds later everyone's laughing and hugging.
Yes,
it's just you're yelling as hard as you can at somebody, and then 2 minutes later your arm is around him and you're like, my God.
That's the first time I'd ever seen that.
Yeah,
so it was
funny,
it was crazy. It was a good experience, but that's the first time I'd ever seen that.
Yeah.
So that threw me for a loop. But that's interesting. That's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that there. I guess maybe we do have time. The last thing we had here, well, actually, maybe the last thing. If you have some college, do you have some college stuff that you want to hit?
Well, I mean, it's just open ended. It's really the games are all to be decided this week.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make.
If you wanted to recap on the game, I mean, I was going to be gracious.
No, I didn't want to recap the game.
Well, actually, know what we could talk about so. We watched the Florida State game together with a couple of other friends, but the first half was going your way, and I'm pretty much just cussing like a homicidal maniac in the Ed House the whole time, and then the game eventually flips. And, you kind of do the Irish exit, and I'm back restored to being a normal person. The homicidal rage is over, and oh man, great season. Let's keep rolling.
I'm not staying for that shit. Man.
Finish for 13.
Finish for 13, man.
Yeah.
But no, that's for sure. And then they released the top 4. You guys are in it now,
which I thought and expected. And there's a big kind of narrative that we ever since the 2014 season, our fan base has felt persecuted by ESPN specifically. And I think they jumped on heavy with the Jameis stuff and the fucker and the pussy and all that, and it just felt like we were just vilified that whole year. And it's kind of like we made ourselves irrelevant for a while, but that's kind of come back. And so there's this feeling in the fan base that ESPN's just running segments to explain why we shouldn't be in and stuff like that. And I get that it's a talking point. And then that Paul Feinbaum guy, he's a fucking first-rate cocksucker.
I love Paul, but of course he's an SEC
you
guy.
Love
so
that
I
guy?
love Paul. But Paul, he doesn't like Florida State. So,
but he
doesn't
like him.
He doesn't like a lot of things outside of SEC. I like Paul, but here goes the thing about Paul.
I have a hard time listening to a guy that probably can't catch a football. Seriously, and I'm talking like an underhand toss from 3 yards. Paul couldn't handle a pitch out.
You're not supposed to like Paul. Paul goes hard on teams that are outside of the SEC. He just doesn't think they're any good. He doesn't. He hates the ACC conference. He doesn't like Florida State, and he makes it clear. He's not shy about it. So that's the thing. Now I'm not as harsh on those other teams as Paul is, but Paul has been covering the SEC for so long, so he's a guy I've been watching for so long. Yeah, because I'm always looking for.
I've seen him for years. I just think he's kind of an asshole. Look at him. How did this guy get anything in football? He literally doesn't look like he catch an underhand toss ball. He's just an embarrassment.
And he's been going hard, man. He's been going hard the last week or two.
He always does.
On Florida State.
Yeah, he always does.
His main thing is, I tend to agree with him, man. But his whole premise is behind if Alabama beats Georgia, which I don't think is going to happen. That's a lot of people.
That's that's the most dangerous scenario.
Yeah,
is you get Alabama beats Georgia. How do you take Georgia out of the top?
I don't think you can,
as two-time defending champions. But even that, if we win, if Michigan wins, and Georgia or Alabama beats Georgia,
you guys don't deserve to be in, Pete. Come on, man. Not in that scenario. Not in that scenario.
Who should be
Georgia?
It would be Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, and us.
No, in Washington.
Fuck Washington. They're not winning though. Washington's not winning.
Oh, that's your premise.
Yeah, I guarantee they're not winning.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're not beating Oregon. Oregon's better than them.
Okay.
They won at home in a very close game where Oregon had a chance to seal the game with a 4th down, had a field goal to tie or win. They're not beating Oregon. That's a take.
But if Washington wins out, they have the same argument you guys but they have their starting quarterback, which they're saying that is not going to take place in the decision.
They'll have their starting quarterback, and they'll have 2 wins over Oregon. Who's good. I get that, but that is the thing. My thing.
But I don't think Alabama's going to beat Georgia, so I don't think that's going to be something you guys have to
I'm more confident in Oregon beating.
You are?
Washington. Washington has been on fumes, bro. They're struggling. They barely beat Washington State, who's not a good team.
But Alabama hasn't looked that great. They've been escaping games.
But I'm also saying Oregon, that's their only loss.
Yeah.
They want a piece of it.
I understand.
Yeah, and they know
they're going to get up. They
were one conversion away from sealing the game.
Yeah.
They went for it on a 4th and 2, got stuffed, and then Washington.
Interesting thing. It's going to be some great games to watch.
No, it should.
Got to watch the Washington-Oregon game. Got to watch the Alabama-Georgia
game. Well, the Washington-Oregon game. Bear in mind that's Friday night.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a standalone game. Yeah. Okay. Standalone game on Friday night. Then you have Michigan-Iowa Saturday at noon. Georgia, Alabama at 4.
Yeah.
And then you have the 2 games. You have FSU, Louisville, and you have Texas. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You have – what's the other one?
Is FSU game at night?
FSU game's at 8 o'clock, but there's another 8 o'clock game. I'm trying to – is it maybe it's Texas, Oklahoma State.
Is it? I could look
one
it
of
up
those.
Real quick,
yeah.
But yeah.
Or no, it might be Michigan, Iowa, Texas, Oklahoma State might be the 12 o'clock.
Mm.
So there's 2 8 o'clock games, a 12 and a 4.
Michigan, Iowa is the 8.
Yeah.
Florida State, Louisville is 8.
And then then you got Georgia, Alabama at 4.
Yeah.
And then and then the other one.
Texas, Oklahoma State is at 12.
Yeah.
And then Friday night, like you said, is the Oregon Washington game. I didn't know. I'm glad I know now.
Yeah, I mean, like from a rooting standpoint, I want Georgia to win. I want Oregon to win, and I think that and we obviously have to win, and then I think we're fine.
All right. We shall see.
Yeah, but the most dangerous scenario is an Alabama upset of Georgia and Washington winning for Florida State. That would be the worst scenario.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for that scenario, but what else is
why the hate, man? Why are you going out of your way to hate on my team? Fear the goddamn spear.
All I have is hate left in my heart.
That's it, man.
That's all I have. Yeah. I'm not the guy that's like, well, at least we have a Florida team in there. Fuck you. All right.
I used to like Miami. I never really liked you guys. But now with Mario, I don't like Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think he's a buffoon.
I'm kind of like you. Miami's never. It's whatever. Of course, when they had those teams, I mean, they had some crazy talent on those teams. But since they've really just been irrelevant. So it's not really been much to hate or root for.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And they seemed to be turning a corner, but then you have this coach making all these bad moves. Now the quarterback is transferring. Or what is that? Van Dyke? Is he the transformer?
Yeah, he's transferring. Well, that's the. I guess
he's a guy that's been there for a while too.
Yeah, but again, he basically lost a job for our game. So the guy broke his arm at the end of the game. That's the only reason he got back on the field.
Yeah.
So he looks at it and is like, they're going to roll with the younger guy. I need to get out of here and play somewhere. The portal, because right now, like this week, it's been firing with guys are moving. And this was low key. Max Johnson, who's the son of Brad Johnson, the former FSU player, and Buck, he actually committed to North Carolina today. Mm-hmm. So I thought we might kick the tires on him, and I don't know if we did or didn't, but he's going to go to North Carolina and basically replace Drake May.
Okay.
And that clearly indicates Drake May's going to the draft, and he's valued as like a top 5 guy, in my understanding. Yeah. So that piece of drama is out of the way. And then a lot of other guys. There's a transfer portal IG that I follow. I guess you could read into this what you will. Like sometimes they'll say like whatever, Texas Tech wide receiver so and so is entering the portal, and then the next paragraph will be something to the effect of, he had 64 catches for 712 yards and 4 touchdowns, or it'll be like he was the number 75 player, like whatever, which basically I'm assuming translates into did not do shit this year. If he actually did something,
you would have that.
Yeah.
Now.
So if you're out there and your team is there, like you want to look at like, okay, does the second paragraph give me some stats or does it tell me something about high school?
Let me ask you this. I was talking to the guy in the barbershop about this, about Peyton.
Yeah.
Of course, we had him on the show several times. Now, Peyton, remember when he was on the show, and of course you could Google it too. He has a couple of guys ahead of him.
Yeah.
And what sophomores? Like the one guy that's plays his exact position is a sophomore.
The main guy that played left tackle was a sophomore. He'll have to come back for another year, and he is believed to be somebody that's on a draft board with some status.
Yeah.
And so the most likely scenario would be for Peyton, in Texas, would be to probably play a different line position next year.
Right.
And then maybe move back out to left tackle when this guy moves on. And I remember him telling us they had one guy who was like 24, 25 years old who benefited from red shirts and COVID years and all that other stuff. He's obviously going to be gone. And it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't I haven't talked to Peyton too much about things like that. And obviously that's his own business, and I don't know to me, how practice and things like that have actually gone.
Yeah, we don't know that.
But that's the thing.
What we were talking about is the Deion thing.
Yeah.
You know, Colorado being a team that needs so much offensive linemen. And, of course, when Peyton was on here, he told us about Deion and his staff inviting him out at Jackson State for a for a visit.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that's been on Deion's radar and has been on the recruiting board for them. I wonder if one of Deion's tactics is to go back and check on guys who may have went to another school but may not be in the best position as far as starting.
Oh,
or
absolutely,
what have you,
absolutely.
And circle back to those guys.
I think
what's going on.
Every college coach that's doing their job does that. You know, like with the transfer portal the way it is, like when you recruit a guy, like that never ends. Like even when he commits somewhere else, because you know you could be talking to that kid in another year, like a year or 2 or even 3 years later, and when you hear like a lot of the transfer stories, it's not an uncommon thing to be like, oh yeah, you know, Coach so and so was at Louisville and he recruited me, you know, coming out of high school when he was at, you know, Southern Miss and whatever, and that's like those relationships, they last, you know. And I've told people like that I've kind of been involved with in, you know, who are getting recruited and stuff like that, like those relationships matter a lot, because the other scenario you can get is like there's a guy that's maybe your position coach or your territorial recruiter that you build a relationship with, and you go 2-3 years down the line, maybe he's a head coach at a different program. And then maybe that's a good fit for you, you know, and you've got that relationship. Our offensive coordinator, there's a guy, Dimitri Emanuel, who started most of our games on offensive line. He's from Charlotte, and that's where our Alex Atkins, our offensive coordinator and line coach, he coached him originally early in his career there. And so it's all relationships. You know, we've pulled about 3-4 kids out of South Carolina. And I'm sure it started like the first guy goes down to Florida State, and I think it was Jamie Robinson, and he had a good success and ended up getting drafted. And I'm sure, like, you know, when people were asking, yeah, man, this is pretty good down here, like whatever. You know, guys know each other. Like, you know, Keon Coleman, who's a big transfer. He's you know, he's from the same area as Greedy Vance, who's one of our cornerbacks, and Destin Hill, who's one of our young receivers. But Destin Hill's a guy that, like, he actually, his first year at FSU, he basically took 2 years off for mysterious personal reasons coming out of high school. So he's actually like a junior age guy, but a freshman college football. But he knew Coleman from back in Louisiana.
Exactly.
You know, and so all that comes in, and guys have to monitor and you know, network and talk to each other. And it's two ways. Like players, you know, if you're a recruit or you're at a school, like your journey may not be over. You got to continue to you know, have relationships and be cordial with people and come off well, because you may need those in the transfer portal later. And on the coaching side, you know, you want to keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on with guys that you recruited and have some belief in, because again, they may be in a situation. But I can't be more negative about Deion at Colorado right now. I don't see where it's going. They're losing recruits. They didn't have a great class in place to begin with, and there's nothing to sell right now, because you know, I mean, it's already done that Shadur and Travis are gone after next year, and then I don't, you know, at one point I was pretty confident Deion would go to the NFL with them. I don't quite know what's there, because if he doesn't do something at Colorado, his marketability in the NFL, especially at a head job, is almost non-existent. You know, there may, if he wanted to, there may be some window.
It's possible
to
that
be on a staff.
The height is right now for him. Like, it's possible that the move for the NFL is right now, because who knows? Now, one thing I will say is
they said right now, like, you're just
I know.
But
I'm saying, because who knows what next year brings. Now, one thing I can say is they said they have a very weak schedule next year.
Yeah, well, they're moving to the Big 12 from the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 had a great year. I mean, you had Oregon and Washington are right in it to the mix here. You know, and most of the other teams like spent some time. You know, USC was at one point highly regarded. UCLA had some moments. Arizona, I think, is still ranked. Oregon State's ranked. I mean, so many of those teams in that Utah ranked and solid. So many of those teams were spent time in the top 25 and are solid programs, talented. And now you go to the Big 12. Minus Texas and Oklahoma, and basically it's kind of like a slightly ramped up Conference USA that with UCF and some of these others, you know. And so you got to feel like schedule wise we definitely catch a break, but the other side of that coin is like that's not necessarily the most appealing place to show out. there again, with as little respect as I could give to Paul Feinbaum, like, dudes want to make it in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like, that matters. It's like,
but the argument to that it is with Deion. Like, you're going to like, eyes are going to be on you. You're going to be on TV because you're with Deion. Now, after your freshman year, maybe Deion's no longer there, but that's why the transfer portal.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. That's just really tough.
That's not a great selling point there. Well, after the first year, you could just.
We had a guy, like, it was. I saw a tweet today. We had multiple guys go to Colorado. Very few had an impact, but one guy, he was like a defensive end, and like the funny thing was, is like somebody's like, this guy transferred all the way to Colorado to make 17 tackles and 1 sack. It was just like, instead of being undefeated and whatever. But I will say this, and I knew at the time why he transferred. He fell behind Patrick Payton. He wasn't going to start. Like, Verse was locked, and Patrick Payton by the end of last year was the better player, and Patrick Payton's had a great season this year. And it's like he was going to be the third, maybe fourth defensive end on the roster. You go to Colorado and you expect to start and play and obviously probably generate more than 17 tackles and 1 sack. But, things sometimes don't go your way.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Let's get to this last thing here really quickly here, then we'll sign off. So this ceiling fan challenge has taken off and it's been one of my favorite challenges of all time. I've not done it, but I've seen quite a few. I've seen enough where I could organize one if I wanted to.
You organize one.
And let's play a little bit here. This is some good stuff, man.
Here's the damn irony. So I saw some chatter about this challenge, and it said when you put it on the show headline, I Googled it, and a dude came up dancing.
That was the first one you saw?
The first one I saw was a dude. So I kind of came in here with, this is stupid. But it's not quite as stupid as I thought. It's got some merit.
Yeah, man. You got some good ones here, man. This is just a montage of some different ones here on this Center Fan Challenge. And I've been asking for a couple of people that I personally know.
Really?
And
has anybody responded?
No, I haven't gotten lucky yet of receiving any. But I, if you don't ask,
now when you ask,
you're
asking them to do a private one or one that's public?
Private.
Oh, okay.
I want a private one.
I
guess I don't
gotta pay extra for the champagne room, my friend.
Yeah, I don't have enough juice to get those. But guys, if you have enough,
I thought you would have had some juice.
Yeah, if you got enough juice, guys, this is a nice little video to get a private video of something like this, man.
Yeah.
Some of these women are doing it like they'll do it like naked, but you can't really see them. That's really sexy. Like you can't see any private parts, but you can see that they're naked.
I'm a private parts guy.
But if you're gonna put it on social media, well, I guess whatever, however you feel about that. But I mean,
dude, if you put it on Twitter, you do whatever you want. I didn't realize.
Well, maybe that's where all the really good ones are.
I might have to scroll.
Yeah, maybe.
Twitter's like.
Most of these are TikTok right here.
Twitter's like wild.
So TikTok is not as wild yet.
No, needs to pick up the pace. It's solid.
It's definitely solid.
There's got to be a couple there where something bad happens.
Oh no, they've shown some where some girls that falling.
Yeah. You can't have a challenge without a mishap like that.
Because you have to like step up on the stool and put your phone on the ceiling. You know what I mean? And that's a part of the thing.
Yeah, somebody has to have fallen off the stool, right?
Yeah, so you got some clumsy women out here, man. And things like that.
But I applaud you if you did have a mishap and still posted that.
Oh yeah.
Whoever you are.
I think you have to go through it.
A lot of people would never do that. There's a lot of takes left on the editing floor. Think about it, man. Like, there's so many people that, like, if they post something and, like, it doesn't get a certain amount of likes, they're, like, deleting it.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Like, there's no way that, I mean, I bet you 50% of these people have fallen down embarrassingly and they're never going to post it.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
But for the women who are not getting enough likes or views, I think you should redo it and just make it better. Show a little more skin. Switch up your shorts. If you were in the shorts, go to a dress. You're in a dress, go to a skirt. Women are very they love that attention of getting the likes and
sure,
and the views. They go as far as clicking on who liked it and who viewed it, and if they don't see like the people that they want to see, they'll feel some type of way and. Oh, this person, I know this person saw it and didn't like it. I'm not going to like any of their stuff for a month now. And I'm like, what?
That's right. At the risk of irritating my daughter, I would say I have gotten text messages like the photo I just posted. So like I got to scramble over there and get a like out there, man. So
yeah, that's very important, man.
Yeah,
that's very important.
Don't let the team down. No, that's better than what I thought it was. The one I gotta show you the one that came up when I pulled it up. I think you'll understand my lack of enthusiasm.
Well, I'll pass on that. But some of these could have been a lot better.
Of course.
But beggars can't be choosers, so I'll take what I can here. All right.
Keep us posted if somebody does give you the private one. That's what we're here for.
That's exactly what we're here for. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. You have been on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink.
There we go.